Hello and welcome to eBay with Chris. Of course, my name is Chris. In today's video, we're going to look at my eBay business for the month of October. We're going to look at my sales as well as my profit and loss. Did I make any money? Let's find out. Okay, as you can see, this is my report for October 1st through October 31st. And my total sales for the month, $5,544.66. My selling cost for the month, $2,179, which was 39.3% of my total sales. We'll go ahead and dive into all the costs here in a few minutes. And my net sales, or what eBay paid me for the month, $3,000.73. Now let's go ahead and look at my average sales price per item. $25.55, which is up 3.3% from the prior month. I believe I was in the $24 average sales price per item last month, so a little bit of improvement there. By the way, my total sales were down for the month. Let's look at my quantity sold. So I sold 217 items, which was down 21.4% from the prior month. Last month I sold 270 items, so I'm down quite a bit, roughly 50 plus items in the month of October. Okay, so I'm curious, how many sales on average is that per day? Last month I sold 270 items, so that was an average of 9 items per day. This time if I take the 217 items sold and divide that by 31 days in the month, it turns out to be an average of 7 items per day. So overall in the month of October, I sold 2 less items per day on average than I did it in September. Okay, as you can see, my total sales, once again, $5,544. And if you divide that by the 31 days in the month, my average sales per day was $179 per day, which is down from $212 on average in the prior month. So I'm down about $33 per day on average. So let's go ahead and look at this chart. We'll pick out a couple items here. Let me go ahead and zoom in. So like I started out the month with 144, 258. Now there were some really low days here. Here we have $103. This is on a Sunday, $104, $67, $95, $63, and then I got a little bump up here to $159. Now something to point out here, I actually had my store on vacation mode up until from a roughly, I think it was the 2nd until the 14th, because my girlfriend and I were in Florida. She has a rental house in Florida that was actually flooded by Hurricane Helene. And so we went down there to basically gut the entire house. It was flooded about 3 feet deep. Fortunately, the house was empty. It was not occupied because the renters had left the prior month. And we were actually planning to move into that house here in this year. However, with the flood, it kind of delayed our plans. And we were actually stuck down there at a friend's house when Hurricane Milton hit a couple days later. So we were on vacation mode, or the store was on vacation mode for the first half of the month, basically. So that probably did impact some of the sales, but I did have it set up so that people can still purchase items, but they just wouldn't be shipped out until we got back. Actually, we were planning to be back on the 8th, but because of Hurricane Milton, the flights got canceled. And I actually had a lot of items that had to get shipped out. And so I had a friend come over and ship out all those items. Then I put my store back in vacation mode for another week until we can actually get home. So let's look at some of these other results here. Here are some good days here. We had a day with $343. Very nice. And a couple of good days here in a row. 257, 272, 327, and then some smaller days here. What is this, a Wednesday? Yes. How did I know? Wednesdays seem to be my worst selling day of the week. I experience that almost every Wednesday. I shared that in the video where I was talking about my September results. Same thing. Here we have Thursday, 254. Here's another day, 251. Let's look at this one. It's another Wednesday. So funny. Okay, let's go ahead and look at my fees. Okay, so here we can see my fees, my eBay fees for the entire month. And you can see my total selling cost from eBay. Zoom in on that. $2,179. And we scroll over here to my eBay fees. $834 total. My final value fees were $722.98. Let me go ahead and calculate that percent real quick. So when I divide $722.98 for my final value fees by my sales for the month of $5,544, I get 13.0%. So right in line with what they should be. I'm typically between 13 and 14%. So I paid $88.88 in ad fees. I have ads on some of my older items in my store, and I'm glad they sell. So I'm okay paying these fees. It's not too much. I did have transaction fee credits. These are probably returned items of $40. And I paid account level fees of $59.95. That's just for my store. And when I have a store of my level, which is over 3,000 items, that's the fee that I'm paying. Shipping labels cost me $1,344. And let's go ahead and compare that to what the customers paid. Customers paid shipping and handling of $1,624. And I only paid $1,344. So I made a profit of roughly just under $300 on my shipping labels for the month. So again, total selling cost, $2,179. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at my P&L for the month. So my eBay payouts, so this is the money that actually hit my bank in the month of October, $3,036. I think my eBay payout on my report from eBay was $3,073. So just a little bit different. Again, when I'm doing my P&L, I'm just looking at my bank statement to see how much money hit my bank and how much money came out of my bank. So again, $3,036 came to my bank. Now my cost of goods purchased for resale that month, $184. I only purchased 122 items in the month of October. Again, I was gone for about 2 weeks during the month, and I didn't purchase very many items. In fact, I didn't even list any new items, hardly at all. I had my my draft bank really full with over 250 items, and while I was gone, I would go ahead and just make maybe 10 or so of those items live every single day. So I didn't really add very many items to my store during the month. I also didn't have very many expenses, so check this out. So office equipment, $0. Shipping, $0. And that's shipping outside of eBay. Almost all of my shipping is in eBay. Occasionally, I have to ship something outside of eBay, and so that's why I have that line there, but it's rarely used. Software for eBay. So this is just basically covering the cost of my VPN and my Google Drive, because I pay a little bit bigger for my Google Drive so I can upload pictures to my listing agency. I also had $50 in labor. Like I said, when I was in Florida taking care of the house that was flooded, we were actually going to come back, I believe, on October 8th, but because Hurricane Milton was coming in, all of our flights got canceled. So I had my store ready to come back out of vacation mode on, I think it was October 9th. Well, all the items I had sold while I was gone that first week were supposed to be shipped out on the 9th. So I had to call up my friend and say, hey, can you go ship all those items? So I'm thankful that she was able to do that. I paid her $50 for her time. I think it probably took her an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And then I put my store back in vacation mode for another week. And so I was able to come back and ship out everything on time after the second week of October. So that's what the labor is for paying my friend to do that. Listing services, I did not have any listing done by the listing agency, so $0 expenses there. And warehouse supplies, $94. I had to buy a bunch of poly mailers. In fact, I ran out, so I panicked, and I had to buy a small box and have that shipped overnight. And then I ordered my normal large box of poly mailers. But overall, my overall expenses outside of my cost of goods was a total of $161. And if I divide that by the 217 items that was sold, my expenses were only 74 cents per sale, plus the $1.50 cost of goods, so only $2.25 or $2.24 per item sold. So really low expenses for the month. And you can see my eBay profit, $2,741.37. That is what went into my pocket. That's what I basically pay myself for the month. So pretty good return, especially since I was gone for almost half the month. About 12 days of the month I was gone, and I made $2,700. So yeah, that's a good month in my book. Well, let me know how you did in October. How was your month? How were your sales? I hope they were rocking and rolling. Again, I just want to share this video. I'm not trying to brag or anything like that. I feel really good about my business and my store, but I'm just trying to encourage you, also show you some realistic numbers of expenses and costs associated with eBay. So if you're trying to make a decision on whether or not you should start selling on eBay, there are some realistic numbers. You can check out my September report as well if you want to see other numbers. But I encourage you, sell on eBay. You can make some good money, keep your selling costs really low, and just start building up your store. And you can do this. You can make some money. You can be gone for 2 weeks out of the month and still make some money. So it's not a ton of money, but it's good enough for me to help me live my minimal lifestyle, my minimalistic lifestyle. I don't have a lot of living expenses, so I'm able to live on very little money. That's not enough money for me to live for the month. However, I supplement it with some other side incomes that I do. So I appreciate you watching eBay with Chris. If you want to know more about my listing service, I do have a link below, so check that out. Also, if you want to know what kind of equipment that I use in my business, I have affiliate links for all the equipment down below. And if you want to watch more eBay with Chris, check out this video right here. Make sure you also subscribe if you like this content. There's a subscribe button right there. Thanks a lot for watching eBay with Chris, and take care.